Hello, everyone. Welcome to Seco Direct Podcast, the place where we discuss all things health and wellness. I'm your host, Ifedayo Osuntwin, a pharmacist and a gluten-free advocate. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing something very dear to my heart. In fact, the condition I'm going to discuss with you today is something that I also have personal history with, and that is on food allergies, in particularly based on wheat-based food allergies. Now, you might be wondering, what are wheat-based allergies? Wheat-based allergies are the allergies that people have when they consume anything that has wheat in it. That is things like your bread, your pastries in general, your pasta, your noodles, your cakes, your cookies, and other forms of confectionaries. Now, you'll be wondering that, okay, does it now mean that if I take wheat-based foods, I might have allergies? No. First of all, you have to get tested to be sure that you have or you don't have these wheat-based allergies. What actually causes the allergy from consuming wheat-based foods is gluten. Gluten is a protein that is found in wheat and other form of wheat or wheat grains, such as barley, rye, and in some cases, oats. Now, this gluten, once it is taken by the body, for those that have these food allergies, immediately the body consumes it. It identifies that protein as a foreign body. And then the immune response flares up, and then you have inflammations. These inflammations can be on your skin, you have dermatitis, some have inflammations even in their intestinal wall. So anytime they take that, it can pose as a health risk for them. Then where can you find the gluten? Apart from we knowing that gluten is found in wheat, people mostly use wheat also to make their foods thicker. They use it in processing foods. They use it as a stabilizer. You find wheat also in your seasoning. You find it in your sausages. You find it also as a flavor in your cereals. That is your cornflakes and other breakfast cereals that children take to school. So it's essential that we bring more light to this for a lot of parents out there that their children might be having certain skin conditions or certain health conditions, and they don't know that it's as a result of the ingestion of wheat-based products. So now, coming to Nigeria, we might not really know how to read labels that would instruct us on how to avoid the ingestion of this wheat, which can now help us avoid food allergies in the first place. But one of the things I'm going to discuss with you is the ways you can avoid them, the ways that you can identify them, and then the things that you can use as alternatives when you want to make baked goods for your children. Now, let's talk about the things that we can identify that might have wheat in them. Things like cold meats, your bacon, your minced meat, your ham. These are things that you find in your supermarkets. Majority of the time, these things have wheat in them. Then your salad dressings, they have wheat in them also. If you remember very well, I said that sometimes they use wheat as a thickener and a stabilizer. So people that make salad dressings, they include wheat in it. Then your canned food, like your sauces, it also have wheat in them in some instances. So these are things that you have to start watching out for when you go to the grocery or when you go to the supermarket to buy things. You have to ensure that you are carrying your package and reading the label. I've come across a lot of packages that when I want to buy things, especially when I was buying things for myself or my son who had a gluten allergy, I'll notice that a lot of them, they have on their package, the ingredients section, they would have written these things in bold letters. So it will be able to help you identify the things you can stay away from. Now we'll go to the options that we have. For people that bake or for people that love confectionaries like cakes, cookies, chin, even bread, you'll be wondering that, okay, I have a wheat-based allergy or I have allergies to anything that is made from wheat. So what are my options now? Now we're going to discuss the things that you can get locally in Nigeria. You have your rice. You can use rice for baking. You can use sorghum. You can use millet. You can even use acha and even oats for baking. But one thing I have to clarify is that it has been discovered that in some facilities, oats can be made in a facility that is producing wheat. So you have to be very, very careful. In some instances, you might be fortunate that the oats is not contaminated. But if you are not too sure, just put oats aside and look for your other options. Then we have other products that you can turn into flour and use for baking. Things like coconut flour, almond flour, and tiger nut flour. We can use them for baking. But the issue we have with coconut flour and tiger nut flour is that they don't bind very well. So if you use them for baking, they would crumble easily. They dry out. Therefore, by the time you use them, is either your cake or your cookie or whatever thing you're going to use, it's not going to rise, or it will be very dry. So you might need to start combining other forms of grains that have been milled into flour so that it can give you a sort of a more structured baked good. Then for children that tend to have these wheat-based allergies, there is a higher chance that they would also develop dairy-based allergies too. That means that such children cannot take milk or other milk products like butter, ice cream, and in some cases yogurt. So for such children or even adults, it's best that they start going for options that are from plant source. So you look out for things like your oats milk, your rice milk, your almond milk, and of course the popular one that we have in the market now, tiger nut milk. These are the options that you can use for cereals. You can use them for your tea, or even if your children like beverages, you can also use those ones. Then I'm going to also mention that children that tend to have food allergies, especially when it pertains to wheat and dairy, they tend to have they have deficiencies when it comes to the inclusion of vitamins and minerals to their meals, because you have removed so much food classes. So it's necessary that you start to fortify their meals. You fortify their meals with calcium, you fortify it with magnesium, zinc, and phosphorus. So you tend to go for meals that are rich in all these items. So you have to include a lot of eggs in their diet. You have to include things like sweet potato, because sweet potato is very rich in antioxidants. Then you also have to include things like carrots and tomatoes also. Carrot has beta carotene, which is very good for the eyes. Tomato is also rich in lycopene, which is a very, very good antioxidant. So this will also promote health and wellness for these children. So as I've said today, it's very, very essential that you read your labels, because that's how you get more information on whatever you need to do concerning your food allergies. Make sure you also go for a test, because you don't want to just assume that because you have a slight rash, that means that you are allergic to some certain things. It's essential you get tested. So on today's topic, I believe that you were well informed on everything we discussed. Like we always say, if you have any topic you want us to also discuss on the podcast, please be free to send us a comment, or you can send us any message. We will always respond to you. So as we always say, make your health your priority and have a wonderful day.